Welcome to this episode of TurboShed, where we're going to go and try and find out what we broke last time and fix it.
So, as you know, the engine last time started making bad rattly sounds, so we pulled off the track. We suspect it's big ends, but we don't know, so we're going to check the oil pressure into the engine and check the oil pressure coming out of the engine and see if there actually is any at all.
Place your bets?
Probably not.
Well, let's connect the gauge up and see what we've got. So we've just rigged up a digital gauge here, and it runs across, and we've just put the sensor there on the way into the filter housing, so that's the outlet from the engine. So make sure it's in neutral, fire it up, Leon, tick over, and let's see if we've actually got any oil pressure. Okay, turn it off. Well, we got 90 psi there, which I think is about right. Right, let's move the sensor location and put it on the outlet of the oil cooler and filter system, and see if we've got any there. See if there's a blockage in the oil lines or something.
Possibly.
Right, we've stuck our oil pressure sensor on the outlet from our oil system. So fire it up, Leon. Let's see if we've got any oil pressure here. See if our oil coolers and filter and stuff are blocked. Make sure it's in neutral. Yeah, so
Bit of a drop, but not insane.
yeah, there's pressure there though, isn't there?
Yeah, there is definitely pressure.
Okay, turn it off. I'll tell you what, just do that and give it a little rev. Let's just see if the pressure changes when it's under a bit of load. Turn the electrics off, Leon.
What was it like on the low?
Yeah, it went up to nearly 90 psi.
It's good.
Yeah, so oil pressure's good. We don't have a blockage in the oil coolers or the filter or anything.
Pressure across the filters.
No, so,
Radiators.
and we've got 60 psi at tick over, which is plenty. So what that tells us is that we don't have a blockage in the oil system that's caused the problem, which is okay, because it's worth checking that while we can still run the engine. I think we need to take the oil out and see if there's any nasties in it. Well, we'll drop a couple of litres out and see what colour it is, and have a look in this tub. We've cleaned the tub out, and let's see if it's all silvery and nasty things like that, or whether it's lovely, clean and fresh. Fresh and
Well, it's black. It's not water coming out of it. It's not mayo either.
No, there's no water in it.
We did the head gaskets. Hopefully there wouldn't be. You've got a water leak by your shoulder there. Tighten that up.
Right, let's have a look and see what this looks like, Leon.
Yep.
Let's pull it out. Right, we've let the oil settle for a minute. Let's have a look, Leon. What do you reckon to that?
I see there's a bit of shiny.
That looks like metallic-y coloured oil to me. Look at that. All those streaks in there. I think
There's our bearings.
are big end bearings. That's definitely
Silver.
got metal in. I'm pretty sure. Meh.
If we look in the bottom of this oil thing, it looks like metal flake paint. So
Loads
it
of
might
tiny bits.
it
of
might not
metal,
pick it up
isn't
on the
there?
camera, but it's loads and loads of tiny specks of metal. And if we look in here, there's a few bigger specks of metal in the bottom of that filter paper. So, by the colour of that oil and the colour of that oil, that's no longer serviceable, and there's bits of big end in all of this. So next time probably you'll be watching a 1UZ rebuild or a 1UZ extraction.
Poor Lenny.
That's what you get when you buy an MOT failure car and then just boost, more boost until it goes bang, which it did.
But we only turned it up to 10.5. We didn't even get to 11. Let's put the other engine in and turn it up to 11. Well, it's a glorious day here, and you'd have seen that last weekend, we got the engine back in with the gearbox, got that sorted out.
Yep.
But we were worried about the turbo because there was so much debris and muck and stuff in the oil, and the turbo didn't feel completely free. So we took this down to Matt at the Turbo Shop in Darlington, and he stripped it out for us, and he had a look, and sure enough, it was completely full of swarf. So one thing we need to do today is I need to make sure that I've got the turbo oil feed the right side of the filter. I've got an awful feeling from that I've put it on the inlet side of the filter, not the outlet, which is a rather silly thing to do. But anyway, we got away with it. Matt cleaned everything up for us, put it all back together and said it's fine, and it's spinning nice and free, rebalanced it. So I think we're good to go on this. So all we've got to do now is get all the manifolds and everything else back on this, fire the old girl up, and see if our eBay engine is actually working. Let's do it.
Do it.
Get the spanners out.
We've taken the oil coolers off the Lexus, and the first one here, the oil looks like metal flake paint, if you can see that.
That's nasty. Yep, well I'm glad we've done that. We'll have to wash them out
Yes, definitely.
and clean it out, so I'm glad we took the cooler off. We'll take the other one off as well and do that and the oil lines, and then we've got a completely fresh oil system. Blech. Well, here we go, Leon, it's the moment of truth. We've flushed all the oil coolers, new oil filter and everything on. We pulled the fuel pump relay out, we've spun the engine over and pumped clean oil all the way through the system and a little bit out. We've got our turbo oil line, because there's no manifolds on at the moment. We're just going to put that into the rocker box to let it drain back. Fuel pump relay's back in. Turn the key. Let's see if we've got fire.
Do you want me to get in and give us some throttle?
No, I can give it a little bit from here.
Ready? That's an engine and it runs.
Let's put some manifolds on. It's turbo time!
Turbo.
Cool. Well, there we are, 2.5 days, engine done, finished. We've got the water in, so we're going to run it up to temperature now and just make sure everything's okay. A couple of other changes as we do everything, we try and upgrade. First one is drag and gauge, our favourite eBay internet 15 quid gauge supplier. We've got an oil pressure gauge which we've put in on the outlet of the oil coolers, which is the inlet to the engine, so we can make sure we've got good oil pressure. And that's also where our turbo oil feed comes from now, so we've got cool filtered oil going into the turbo. And what have you got?
This is a toy OBD1, and what this does is we can plug these wires straight into the diagnostics box, and it gives us live feed through Bluetooth to whatever device we want, a phone or tablet, about what everything the car's doing and when it's doing it.
Yeah, we've never used one of these before, and we're going to plug it in. We've already got the app on the phone for it.
Yep.
From ZF, and we'll let you know how we get on with that. So we're looking forward to that. We might actually have a rev counter again, a digital one too, and we'll be able to look at the exhaust mixture, ignition advance, duty cycle for the injectors, and all sorts of fun stuff.
Throttle position, etc.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Right, let's get these last couple of bits on, get the car warmed up, and see how we are.
Sure.
So here's our dials on our centre panel. So we've now got water temperature, which comes directly off the top of the engine, boost, which comes off the manifold there, and this is our oil pressure, which we're just going to solder in on the back here. We'll solder it into one of the other gauges, and we'll connect it up onto the sender unit that we've put in. Oil pressure, water, boost.
Of course it's not -4, but...
No. Well, do you want to make sure it's in neutral and start it up, Leon, and watch our oil pressure gauge, and we need to run out to temperature anyway and bleed the water.
Ready?
Yep. We've got oil pressure, that's good.
That was higher than it was before, so that's a good sign.
Well, it's got bearings in the engine now. Right, we've got to run this up to temperature.
Right, we're done. 2.5 days. Turbo V8 out, turbo V8 in. We think everything's okay. It's a bit rattly, I'll tick over, but that could be anything. So hopefully we will, in the next video, we will be seeing you at Teesside.
Yeah. Buy an engine off eBay, put it in a drift car, turbo it.
Hope it works.
Take it to the track for big third gear skids and let's see if it hangs together. See you next time.